during the time of multipartism, at the time of opening up the space, were almost in retirement. New leaders were coming up who had never experienced what political parties are. And so there was a general thinking that, okay, because you want to take over power from me, we have to be rivals. Okay, yes, we can be political rivals, but we are not enemies. Okay, so I am very, very convinced that it's going to take us quite a lot to get to the level where we shall be convinced that actually we are on the proper trajectory.
Societies are forged through compromise, especially in times when conflict arises. Many institutions have interests, but sometimes those interests collide. And when they collide, every society creates institutions that try to moderate that conflict. And conflict might not be combative. It could be soft, it could be moderate, it could be hard. All the same, institutions exist, for example, like the UN, to ensure that they can create a platform where engagement can occur. In Uganda specifically, the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue was created by Uganda's governance infrastructure from the need from the last decade now to becoming a constitutional need that is a function of the state to what we see today. But at the heart of that conversation, we've seen that one of the leading opposition political parties, the National Unity Platform, has had a frictional relationship with IPOD. And even when there has been a lot of engagement, we've seen that there has been progress, but it seems that the progress has not yet matured into something substantive. This podcast seeks to find some answers to what is the state of the relationship between IPOD and NUP, and what can we do to ensure that it can be better for the health of our democratic governance. In order to do so, we are joined by Dr. Lawrence, who leads IPOD, and that is the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue in Uganda, and he'll be speaking to this specific matter. Dr. Lawrence, you're most welcome to this podcast.
Thank you very much. My pleasure being here.
I will just go straight to the point. So for listeners who might not know what IPOD is, could you just give us a bit of a history in under a minute what IPOD is, when it was framed, where it has reached from last year's constitutional change that institutionalized it within the function of government?
IPOD is Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue, a platform that was created 4 years after Uganda's return to multi-party democracy in 2009, because at the time, despite the opening up of multi-party political space, political parties didn't know how to mutually coexist, how to work together on certain issues, how to manage and mitigate conflict. So IPOD gets formed as a platform to bring all these parties together. So from 2009, 2021, it gets registered as a body, a legal entity, whose guarantors were political parties. At the time, there were 4. That is NRM, DP, Justice Forum, or JEMA, and UPC, Uganda People's Congress. However, in 2025 May, Parliament made an amendment to the Political Parties and Organizations Act, where IPOD became a statutory organ an organ for political parties represented in the parliament under the National Consultative Forum. So as we speak of now, that is the legal status of IPOD.
Thank you. And just to highlight, from 2009, you have had a number of wins. And would you like to speak to any glaring milestones that IPOD has achieved over the years through the engagement it has had? And we see how that fits into the discussion today.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've had quite a number of them. One of them being the ability to bring political parties together to talk through issues of conflict. That is major. It's a major issue. And this is done at both the summit and at the council levels. We have 3 layers. IPOD is structured in 3 layers. There's IPOD Summit, which is a top decision-making organ where presidents and the chairpersons of political parties sit. Then we have the Council of Secretaries General, where the Secretary Generals of political parties sit, and then, of course, the Secretariat. So we've had the dialogue engagements at both summit and at council levels, where a number of contentious issues have been resolved amicably. But on top of that, we have had the capacities of political parties built across a series of domains, including putting in place internal conflict resolution procedures. We've supported the parties to do manifestos, to go around the country. We've supported the youth structures, the women's structures, and many other aspects of political parties. So I should say, yes, those are the major ones. Of course, we've also had policy influence. If you look at the 2020 amendments within the presidential elections, the parliamentary elections, the Local Government Act, and the Electoral Commission Amendment Act of 2020, IPOD had a very, very big hand in those amendments. There are proposals we put forward that were eventually adopted.
That's
good. Among others.
That's good. And just a quick one, and you could just refresh our memory. I know that conversations at the beginning of our multi-party dispensation as well led to conversations on the funding of political parties. Did IPOD have a hand in that? Because I want to forward into that chat just shortly.
Absolutely, it did. I can tell you that as of now, we are talking about political parties being funded up to 45 billion shillings.
45 billion, that's per financial year?
Every financial year.
Oh, that's a lot of money, 45 billion.
Yeah, 45. However, this money was increased, or the agreement, the persuasion to the Minister of Finance, who is, of course, the President, was done in the IPOD space. So I'll take you back, I'll move backward. In 2024, this money, 2025, financial 2025, this money had been 35 billion.
Okay.
So this financial year, there was an addition of 10 billion.
10 billion shillings.
Yes. Now, from 2025 back to 2021, the money was 35 billion shillings. And all these discussions to increase are minuted here in the IPOD summit engagements. Now, before 2021, political parties were receiving 10 billion. 2016 up to 2021.
2016, 2021, 10 billion.
10 billion shillings.
Okay.
But before 2016, it was 5 billion shillings.
Before 2016, 5 billion, 20... Oh!
Yes. So, and I can tell you that all the discussions to increase this funding available to political parties have happened in the IPOD space. And I can also tell you that very soon, very, very soon, we are going to have a discussion that will see even that amount of money increased by 30%. We are looking at about 60 billion shillings, which should happen, I think, before the end of this financial year. So yes, the discussions all the funding to political parties, all those discussions, apart from the initial 5 billion, but all these discussions have been happening in the IPOD space.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that context. And that just brings us to the to the conversation on the benefit that comes with belonging to IPOD vis-a-vis those that contradict with it. So those that contradict with it, there are those, for example, I've heard from the president of UPC, Jimmy Akena, say that our contradictions aside, we need to belong to a space where we can talk. But there are those who say that they don't want to join the space, but they want the benefit that comes with the space. How does IPOD advise on that contradiction? I'm speaking about NUP here.
Yeah, so for purposes of context, in 2021, when NUP got to Parliament, we reached out to them and said, well, you are eligible to join in IPOD.
Oh, you reached out to them?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
we did.
Okay.
I have letters here to the effect that we wrote to them. They wrote back rejecting. We even asked for physical engagements. They rejected them. And of course, as you know, a little back as 2025, even when the amendment in Parliament had been passed that required membership for any party to benefit from the public funding, they still took a firm stance against joining IPOD until probably along the way they ran broke and thought that they would come in. They would come in.
They've been rejecting you for 5 years.
Yeah, sure. So the doors of IPOD have always been open because in IPOD we believe that once a political party has public mandate, then the public mandate comes with an unpalatable decision of engaging with other stakeholders. Because it may be an unpopular decision, but we believe that a political party should be in position to engage with the others for purposes of the furtherance of the democracy in the country. So yes, the political parties that are still hesitant or are thinking, the space is open, but as you know, even though the space is open, there are do's and don'ts and there are requirements of getting into that space. And so, as we speak of now, the process of admitting NUP has not yet been finalized because the finality of that is in the IPOD summit, which we are working to ensure that we hold as soon as possible.
And just a quick one before we lose that very point. I have heard you on other forums say that whereas, for example, the Secretary General of NUP, Lewis Rubongoya, has written to say that NUP wants to join, that his signature amounts to not so much, that it must be Bobi Wine that signs to commit NUP and not any other signatory. I just wanted you to speak to just the theory around that for people to understand why IPOD is insisting that it must be the party principle, not the Secretary General committing the party. That even when the Secretary General commits the party, it's not enough. It must be the number one.
Yeah, so the underlying principle is basic. It is basic. And it is basic in the sense that we know that we do not have, we have uniformity when it comes to who takes office of the president or the chairperson of a party. The uniformity is in the sense that the top leadership, or the leadership, or whatever it is defined in the party constitution, votes for that particular person. Okay, for the president or the chairperson.
Okay.
However, the same is not true for the secretary general. Some political parties have secretary generals who come through a vote.
Okay.
Others are simply appointed. Okay. So the idea behind it is a party president has the full backing of all the membership of the party because he came through by vote. Now, you cannot have a secretary general who is an appointee of a party who can be thrown out the following day, not by the majority, but by a single person who is the party president to commit the party. So that's why we are saying that because the party president or the chairperson has direct mandate through a vote from the members of the party, he is in better position to commit the party. Now, in the case of NUP, this issue this is one of the basic provisions within the Memorandum of Understanding which brings together political parties. Because we have said that yes, a political party will only be bound by the president. So Honorable Kyagulanyi or Bobi Wine, we've received a letter where he's delegating one of his deputy presidents to execute the duties of a president.
I've seen the letter.
What we are doing now is to consult with the summit because it is the topmost decision-making organ. Summit will tell us whether it suffices to have a deputy president commit the party, or if they feel it's not, then the matter will be deferred. So, but at the council level, this has been processed and it is forwarded to summit for guidance.
So just a quick one, and this will be the wrap up here. So I know you view that democracy space from the outside. Do you think we were ready to get into multi-party democracy? Do you think we are doing well? Are the problems we're having right now peculiar to us as an emerging governance system, or were we ready to get into multi-party democracy? Are we leaning into a one-party state again? Do you see parties growing stronger or weaker? And what do you hope IPOD's role could be in terms of providing such direction for the future?
It is my conviction that that political parties, I think as Uganda we were not ready to go multipartism. We were not yet ready, I should say, because we did not have enough time. We did not have enough time. So political parties were in abeyance, and then we have an immediate opening up of the space.
Yeah.
You find that most of the people who had, for instance, lived during the time of multipartism, at the time of opening up the space, were almost in retirement. New leaders were coming up who had never experienced what political parties are. And so there was a general thinking that, okay, because you want to take over power from me, we have to be rivals. Okay, yes, we can be political rivals, but we are not enemies. Okay, so I am very, very convinced that it's going to take us quite a lot to get to the level where we shall be convinced that actually we are on the proper trajectory. Unfortunately, we still have a hangover of the movement system. Okay, we still have that hangover. It is very evident even in political parties on the opposition, meaning that we have basically not embraced multipartism, what it entails, apart from saying, I am not in that camp, but I am in this. What IPOD is trying to do around that is to construct programs that, first of all, help not only the leadership, but also the fan base of these parties, because we basically don't have members. Parties don't have members here in Uganda. They have fans. They have supporters. Yeah,
I see.
Because that's one of the basics.
Yeah, having actual supporters who believe in your ideology.
Absolutely. And that's why you see that many people do not even know the political ideology of their own parties. They don't know whether their party is center left or center right. They know nothing about it, even the leaders themselves. So as IPOD, we are trying to say, okay, how do we help parties, first of all, get to appreciate the philosophical grounding in terms of ideology of their party? How can that cascade down to the members? That is one. But also to help them build structures that help a political party be viably functional, and a collection and representation of the views of the public as a vehicle, as a political vehicle. So that's what we are working towards. I must say that it's a tall order.
It must be.
Yeah, because the appreciation, even individually, is very, very small. Most of the people are looking at, how do I get into a political office, even though I do not fully appreciate what it means to have an office, a political office in a multi-party dispensation.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think and I know that IPOD is doing a lot of good work with younger people, trying to plant this seed of what multipartyism means. What does it mean to work within a multi-party context? And thank you, Doctor, for all that good work that IPOD is doing. Thank you for taking time to take this interview. Have a good day. Thank you for listening to the Policy Digest podcast, the Center for Policy Analysis podcast that is profiling African ideas and people that are shaping the future of their communities. Subscribe to all our platforms on YouTube and Podbean.